Hey guys, welcome to an off-season edition of the Gambler's Gossip Corner with the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Mike Gamble.
I'm Nick Kinzel.
And I'm Ian Jortson.
And guys, we got a lot to go over. There was a bunch of NASCAR news coming out, a bunch of team news, driver news, everything under the sun's been coming out within the last couple weeks for us to kind of discuss and go over here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got an action-packed show.
Yeah, before we dig into everything, first off, you were on For the Lead podcast.
Right, that I was.
Talking about everything with the boys, so how'd that go?
Yeah, it was a great experience. That's actually one of my personally favorite NASCAR podcasts that I listen to almost every week. That's one of the first ones I listened to hear what those guys think about everything going on. It was a great experience. Timothy Martin and Connor Bunn do a great job with their show. It was an honor to be on there. I was really excited to get on there, talk racing with them. They asked me how we started our podcast, how I became fans of guys like Trevor Bayne, Ryan Blaney, and Bubba Wallace, and a bunch of other things. So if you're interested, check it out. It was episode number 44 of the For the Lead podcast. To all our listeners out there, if you're looking for another great racing podcast, I couldn't recommend For the Lead enough. Those guys do a phenomenal job, and again, I was honored to be on it.
So they were talking about a potential collaboration with the two of us, with the two groups next year. That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I heard you were talking about them even coming out to Chicagoland Speedway with us.
Yeah, so that's all stuff we talked about. I think would all be great things for both shows.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So,
all right, so before we dig into the gossip corner, let's talk about our diecasts of the week real quick.
Alright, so I was just kind of going through my cars this week, and I brought out I think this is 2012, number 60, Trevor Bayne, the Roush Fenway 25-year celebration car. I remember him running this car at Daytona, and he was running third, coming to the checkers, and he got wrecked. He got caught up in the big one, running in third place. Yeah, I don't have too much knowledge on this car of him running it after Daytona, but it's still cool with it being a 25-year anniversary car. I think I picked it up for $20 on eBay, so I was like, hey, why not?
Yeah,
This is another Trevor Bayne car I don't have.
exactly.
Yeah, that's not a bad find at all, either.
Not at all.
Yeah. All right, so what do you got, Mike?
So, I went plain and simple for our last show of the week, 2017 Ryan Blaney 21 Wood Brothers car, the classic Wood Brothers look.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yep. Just like the old adage goes, KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly.
It's a classic looking scheme, can't beat it. So
one of my favorite paint schemes in NASCAR.
Can't wait to see Matt DiBenedetto in that car next year.
Yeah.
Running these schemes. Yeah, I busted out my brand new Matt DiBenedetto t-shirt.
Yeah.
Got it for $20, so why not? I gotta stop spending money now though. Because the diecast came in from Black Friday and the box was probably the size of this table, so I did not get yelled at though, so I thought I was going to.
Nick's alive.
But now I'm 8 diecasts deeper into my collection and hoping for more along the way.
Yeah, plot twist, we're not looking for another co-host. Nick is still in fact with us, living and not completely dead. So that's a win for the spec.
See, I was worried because, I walked in the house and I was like, oh, the box. I was like, where's the box? It's not outside. She saw the box. I'm screwed. And then I walked downstairs and it's in my room and I was like, oh boy, here we go. It was just like, what did you buy? And I was just like, I didn't buy anything. What's buying? I don't know. I didn't do anything. Because she just takes one peek in there or even looks at the little billing sheet that they taped on the box. Oh, I'm dead. I'm not here tonight, guys.
And Stock Car Spectacle is back to a two-man show.
Yep. Well, you're alive and well, and that's good to hear. So for my diecast of the week, I brought out Kevin Harvick's Chicagoland win from 2001. It was his second career win. He took over after the late Dale Earnhardt and led 113 out of 267 laps, and then just carved his name into history right there for the first inaugural winner of Chicagoland Speedway.
It's just interesting it's just weird to see Kevin Harvick with rookie stripes on the back of his car.
Yeah. I feel like that was eons ago.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like his rookie cards are in Latin or something, man.
Yeah, no kidding. So I love this diecast, and right, so let's get into the gossip corner, boys.
So, guys, first piece of news, we had a really unexpected bombshell got dropped on us this week. Cole Pearn is just up and leaving NASCAR altogether. Not just leaving the 19 team as a crew chief. He's gone altogether.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
After the season that they had, but I understand it to a point because NASCAR is a really grueling and demanding sport, and if you have a family, it's tough because you don't see them because you're on the road 36 weeks out of the year. And then for Cole Pearn, he's a guy who's constantly in the shop, having these meetings and everything, working with the guys to set up the car. So he is rarely ever home. So I understand his decision to step away. It's just really shocking to see. Wins a championship with Martin Truex Jr. They had a phenomenal 2019 season. So for him to just step away, that just blew my mind.
Right.
It just makes me think. He's from Canada. He moved to Colorado to start working at Furniture Row Motorsports, and now 1 year after moving to North Carolina, he's up and out. Like, maybe he just didn't like living there. Maybe he just missed home. Like, who knows?
I think it all just comes down to the family in the end because he doesn't want to miss his kids grow up. So I completely understand that, but just really crazy because Cole Pearn is a terrific crew chief.
He is.
To fill those shoes for whoever Martin Truex Jr.'s next crew chief is, he's got a lot to do to add up to Cole Pearn.
Oh, no doubt.
That's going to be the big question is who is going to replace him.
Mm-hmm.
But just to touch on Cole Pearn myself really quickly, just like you guys said, probably one of the best crew chiefs in NASCAR right now before his departure. That's going to be such a monumental task to come in and do what that team's done.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, when it comes to Cole Pearn, I really, really didn't care for his comments right around the 4th of July on Twitter. Just felt like that was really poorly timed and really just tone deaf to where you work.
I lost respect for him after that, so he's a good crew chief, but at the end of the day, you don't say that stuff around the American Independence Day. What he said.
Listen, I understand what he's trying to say, but number one, really, the timing of it was really, really stupid. The way it came across was really inappropriate, I thought, to basically a sport that's built around Americans. And American pride is a huge theme in NASCAR. So I just really think, I understand what he was trying to say. Could have been done better. And like you said, I kind of lost a lot of respect for the guy in that whole ordeal as well. But nonetheless, personal feelings aside, NASCAR's really going to miss a guy like Cole Pearn. I hope you really get to do what you want to do and watch your family grow up. We're going to miss you, though, Cole.
That just brings up the question, who replaces Cole Pearn?
Right.
There's a lot of guys out there, but there's just nobody that comes to my mind right now is who could do it.
Well, the only name, and this is something that I discussed with Connor Bunn and Timothy Martin on for the lead. One name that we were only able, well, there are actually two names that we were able to kind of bring up, but one of them I know now won't. And that would be, one name we discussed was Rudy Fugle.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Fugle, the trucks crew chief for KBM, but he's already been announced back with the 51 truck next year. I'm sorry, not the 51, the 18 truck, that's right. But he will be back with KBM in the truck series, so we know that won't happen. The other name that we kind of guessed could be available, what if somebody like a Paul Wolf is looking to move on? Him and Brad Keselowski, again, didn't have a great season.
Right.
He's a veteran crew chief. He's not going to be a guy who's scared of the pressure and expectations of being a championship crew chief in a championship team. Maybe that's a fit.
You can also throw in Darian Grubb. Darian Grubb does not have a crew chief position right now, and he crew chief Denny for a while, crew chief Smoke. So he's got the experience. So you could very well see somebody like that. It's just, it's just still just blowing my mind that Cole Pearn is just, no, I'm gone, guys.
Yeah, some of the things that have been kind of coming out of the Joe Gibbs Racing camp seems to kind of suggest that it might be an engineer or somebody from the inside getting the bump up as a first-time crew chief. But again, these are just rumors. I don't know how true they're going to end up being. I really think that's going to be a tough rookie crew chief job.
He's going to be on the hot seat right away if that's who it is, because this is Martin Truex Jr.
You got to pick someone that's close with him.
Cup champion.
Right.
Great race car driver, and to be a rookie crew chief for him, that's a tall order.
Oh, yeah. Especially with how much Cole Pearn helped him boost his career when he came over to Furniture Row.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Look at where Martin Truex Jr. was before Furniture Row. He was a back-of-the-pack guy, mid-pack guy. As soon as he gets to Furniture Row, has a terrible first year with him, and then here he is in 2014, wins the race.
Next thing you know, he's a championship contender.
Once they transitioned to Toyota, he was really moving.
Right, game changer. So I think after we get done with this show, when we break down all the news we're going to break down today, that's going to be one of the biggest question marks left.
Yeah.
So to keep going, another big piece of NASCAR news that came out within the last time since we filmed. NASCAR's announced a new sponsorship model. We knew about what they were going to do. We've discussed it on the Gossip Corner in the past, but NASCAR has announced its 4 premier partners for next year. Coca-Cola, Geico, Xfinity, and Busch Beer are going to be the 4 premier sponsors. They're going to be kind of broken up and segmented throughout the year. Let's see, we're going to look back at our notes for a second here. Coca-Cola will have the regular season championship trophy. That will be part of theirs. Xfinity will have the Martinsville cutoff race. And all 4 will have presence at the All-Star race as well as the championship race at ISM this year.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing in a lot of different ways. NASCAR was very big about making sure that none of these premier partnerships had any effect whatsoever with their personal relationships with the teams. That was my biggest concern going into this. I didn't want it to become a thing where it made the teams and the sponsorship deals, fall apart or cost drivers. So I thought that was great. And it's another way to bring a bunch of different sponsors into the sport into a big kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, notorious or a really big position for less money than you would normally get it.
Yeah, right.
So, what do you guys? You guys got thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him. I'm just curious as to what's the championship trophy going to look like now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to stay the same.
No.
With Monster. Monster's still going to be in the sport though.
Yeah, they're the official energy drink in NASCAR.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they're going to have like pit road signs and everything, or like they're going to be on the pit wall or something like that.
Right.
Something like that. But yeah, I'm curious to see what this is going to be like. First season's going to be interesting to see how it all goes, but I think it's going to be a great, like you said, bring in more sponsorships. So I think it's a good idea. We'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm curious to see what this championship trophy is going to look like.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. You're basically putting the 4 biggest sponsors in NASCAR.
Yeah, these
right
aren't
now.
like some small schmuck sponsors. These are like the 4 big guys.
Right.
These
Right.
guys have been here
Geico's
before.
been around. You have the Geico Restart Zone. Coca-Cola, you have the Coke
600.
Coke 600. You have the Coke Zero Sugar 400 as well.
Coca-Cola staple of drivers.
Yeah, exactly. So Coca-Cola is huge. Busch Beer, it's been around in NASCAR for decades. We had the Busch
Yeah, the
Series.
Busch Series. I was looking at your flag right there.
Yeah, we had the Busch Series, and now they're coming in for premier sponsor. And
They were the pole award for a long time. Right?
They still are. Busch,
right.
And then Xfinity, they came in huge with, the Xfinity Series, helping them out, giving them a lot of money to keep operating. So it's just great to see all these sponsorships that have big ties with NASCAR go in for some premier sponsorships. So it's definitely cool to see.
I agree.
And I hope they don't change the trophy because I love how this trophy looks right now.
I do too.
It's huge. It's hard to pick up, and it just looks awesome with all the tracks laid out on there.
I agree.
I think they made it bigger than the Stanley Cup on purpose so they could have the biggest trophy.
And they accomplished that.
If they do decide to change it, I would want to see them go back to what they used to do for the Winston Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Those Winston Cup championship trophies were badass.
Those were so cool.
Not even a championship trophy, just all the Winston Cup race winning trophies were badass.
Absolutely.
So if they're going to change it to something like that, I would be a huge fan of that.
Right, I agree.
No doubt.
I will also just add, I think this is NASCAR, in one example, kind of getting ahead of where markets may be going.
Right.
It's obviously been harder and harder to bring in one sponsor to foot the bill for a whole season.
Right.
So doing this is maybe a way a lot of teams can look at it too, because you're starting to see the same thing with the race teams. You're not seeing one primary sponsor on cars for 36 races as much anymore.
Right.
Sure, there's some outliers, but at the same time, you're seeing a lot more 12 race deals, 10 race deals, 5 race deals. Maybe this is the way our market's going to go with the sport.
Yeah.
I think this is NASCAR getting out in front of it. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's going to work out for them.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right.
So yeah, guys, we got a little more driver information and news to kind of go over. One of my favorites to kind of discuss and go over today, Corey LaJoie will be back with the 32 team next year at Go Fast. I was really worried that when Daniel Suarez lost his ride and became available, that this was going to be a destination for him, especially with Tony Stewart making those comments he did about wanting to keep Daniel Suarez in-house somehow with Stewart Haas.
Right.
So that's going to be great. I think that's a good fit. I think he's coming in with SHR Alliance now. Maybe we'll see him run well.
I think Corey LaJoie is just an overall terrific person. He's good with the fans. He's a really good race car driver. So putting him in some good equipment with the SHR Alliance, he's in my opinion, outran Matt DiBenedetto in the 32 car.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think the potential is through the roof for this kid, and seeing him in SHR equipment next year with the Alliance, I think he's going to do great things. He could be on the verge of breaking into the top 20 week in and week out. That's small steps for this team.
Right.
He can run top 20 competitive, lead lap finishes, maybe works his way into a couple top 15 finishes next year.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to see what Corey LaJoie and Go Fast Racing do.
Right.
Yeah, who knows what this alliance with Stewart Haas Racing could do for that team, you know? It's just fantastic for Corey LaJoie because, you know, like you said, he has just overperformed and underperforming equipment, and sky's the limit for him right now, guys.
Yeah, I think so. I think this Go Fast team has gotten a little better year after year. I think they've got the perfect kind of driver to come in and also see those incremental changes. And now you've got this SHR Alliance. I think they go from making baby steps to a leaps and bounds this year.
Yeah, I really do think so.
Right.
I think, yeah, if they can just start getting some lead lap, I think they're going to start getting more lead lap finishes than they had last year.
Right.
And I think they could strongly be a top 20 to maybe even a top 15 team.
I agree.
Throughout the season.
I agree. I think a pretty favorable comp for next year could be what you saw the 95 team do this year. I think they could be one where every once in a while you look up and you see that 32 in the top 10.
Wow.
So I think it's possible. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see. We're only a couple months away from Daytona now that we're in the middle of December. So
66
we don't.
days?
Yep, 66 days. Check our Twitter and Instagram
Yep.
if you don't believe us.
We got the countdown
so,
going.
Yeah. So speaking of Stewart Haas, they've also kind of shook things up in-house with their teams. So the 14, 41, and 10 teams all kind of did a little Super Bowl shuffle within their teams and crew chiefs. So Buga Bugarevich, who was with Clint Boyer, him and team are going to go from Boyer to Eric Almirola next year. With that, Klaus Meyer and the team from Almirola are going to go to Clint Boyer. Also with that, as we found out, as Cole Custer comes up to the 41, Mike Shiplett will join him in the 41
huge.
car.
I think having Mike
big.
Shiplett coming with him is huge because
Right.
I was thinking that they were going to give this guy a new crew chief. He's got such good chemistry with Mike Shiplett.
Right.
So I think this is a tremendous thing that SHR did to make sure Cole's going to have the best rookie season.
Oh, it's going to
Right.
help him out so
Yeah, that's a great
much.
point.
Yeah.
The only thing I do question, I wouldn't even say question, but I would be a little bit leery of in a situation like that. You're bringing up a driver from Xfinity and a crew chief from Xfinity.
Yep.
As we know, these cars are totally different from the Cup cars. So I have no idea what kind of knowledge or experience Mike Shiplett does have with Cup cars. I'm sure that's something they're going to have to kind of learn a little bit together.
Yeah.
So
You got enough time in the offseason
right,
to learn.
exactly. So, but no, I think the familiarity is going to be paramount because all that kind of stuff you can learn as you go. There's no substitution for communication and comfort there.
Yeah, these guys
So,
already know each other, so I expect good things.
Right.
I feel comfortable with this news. Rodney Childers is still with Kevin Harvick. I just
surprise.
I just wish they would change up Harvick's pit crew because
How many times have they had to do that?
Yeah.
though? I mean, now the amount of times Kevin Harvick's pit crew's either gotten fired and or just switched around.
Well, you can see why.
Yeah, I can see why.
His pit crew is losing him races sometimes, man. So
Speaking of other guys that got switched around, Billy Scott will no longer be with Stewart Haas Racing. He has signed on with Richard Childress Racing as the head of race engineering. I think that's a good pickup for RCR.
Yeah, that's
I
who
feel
I
like he
thought.
wasn't crew chief material.
That's who I thought Cole Custer's crew chief was going to be at first. So that's why I was kind of worried. I was like, oh boy, Billy Scott. Like, nothing bad on Billy Scott, but yeah, I just don't think he was crew chief material in my mind. But now he's got a great opportunity at RCR. But, yeah.
I think it's a win-win for both parties in this case. You know, Stewart Haas is losing somebody that may not have been a great fit with their organization.
Yeah.
But Billy Scott is going to a team that could really benefit from having somebody who's been at a championship caliber team.
Right.
He's going to bring over a treasure trove of knowledge and stuff that obviously RCR may not have because look at their results on the track.
I really think RCR is going to break out next year, and I think it's coming with that 8 car of Tyler Reddick. I'm really expecting big things out of him next year.
Yeah.
Pressure's definitely on.
Oh,
I'm raising the bar for Tyler Reddick for next year because I really think he'll be the one to turn RCR around. And yeah, with Billy Scott coming over from a championship caliber race organization, good things are going to happen for Rich Childress
Yeah, I
Racing.
think so.
I think that position's going to work out much better for him because if you see the transition that Kurt Busch had from Tony Gibson to Billy Scott, it was like a totally different team.
Yeah.
Like Tony Gibson, he was constantly getting like top 10s, top 5s. And with Billy Scott, you know, he was hanging in back like top 15s Like, come on, let's get the car moving here.
Yeah, just
So-
don't gel.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Right.
They didn't have that relationship like Tony had with
Right.
Kurt.
I'm just really intrigued to see what's gonna be what at RCR next year.
Yeah.
This also got brought up on the For the Lead podcast, and one of my points there was I don't really feel like you've got a super fair barometer for exactly what those RCR cars are capable of. As we know, no disrespect, but Austin Dillon hasn't always been an overachieving driver. I felt like he's rather underperformed since being in the 3 car. As we know about Daniel Suarez, there were times during the year where he looked good. Or I'm going to say Daniel Hemrick. I'm sorry, not Daniel Suarez.
I mean, Daniel Hemrick was getting taken out by Daniel
Yes.
Suarez.
Yeah.
So you know they're attached to each other the whole year on the track. So I get a little confused between my Daniels.
Dan on Dan crime.
Yep, Dan on Dan
It
crime,
just seems
boys.
for me, Richard
But-
Childress Racing has great practice and qualifying sessions.
Mhm.
They just cannot put a full race
Right.
together.
No.
Right.
I feel like Austin Dillon his wins have been right place, right time for him. I really haven't seen anything out of Austin Dillon. This kid's been in the Cup Series since 2013 as well.
See his
Or
Daytona
14.
500 win, right place, right time. But the Coke 600 win, that's
Great
all on his
strategy.
team.
Good
Yeah, great
Fantastic
strategy.
strategy for fuel. That was a
Right.
great win by that team.
Either way, though, it's still not a great, like, oh, that was a great
Yeah,
drive.
it's not like
No.
he actually had to.
Effort.
No, that's
Right,
just great strategy
right,
by
so-
the crew chief and the whole team.
I will say, though, I do believe there's a place in the Cup Series or NASCAR for Austin Dillon,
Mhm.
but being in such a premier ride may not be it. I think if Tyler Reddick comes in and has a good season, that puts a whole lot of pressure not only on Austin Dillon, but Richard Childress.
Just
He
imagine
has a
Richard Childress has to
grandson
fire his
around,
grandson.
Yeah. So
That would be the craziest day in NASCAR.
it really would.
It's
it
never
really
going
would.
to happen.
No,
So,
no.
Yeah. But, guys, we talked about what happened with Kevin Harvick, obviously, and his crew chiefs, but this
Yeah.
really should be something that benefits Kurt Busch a lot. One thing that I found out doing my research, Kurt Busch lost 120 spots on pit road in 2019.
Yeah,
So-
that is not
Yeah,
acceptable.
you talk
No.
about needing a pit crew swap right there. Whew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he needs one bad.
Right.
Well, after that stat, a few guys are getting fired probably.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that one team now. So that's going to be
Yeah.
a game changer. So to keep in our line, guys, with driver news. As we know, Ryan Preece is now going to go to the 37, moving over from the 47 car, and Ricky Stenhouse will go to the 47, and his crew chief Brian Patty will follow him over to the 47.
It's kind of
team.
odd, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why they really did it.
I
but-
heard the
Yeah.
37 is more competitive.
So why would they give? I don't know.
That's
Why
for
give
me,
it to
that doesn't
Ryan
make a
Preece?
lot
So
of
you
sense.
want Ricky
Well,
Stenhouse Jr. to come in and do good things for you.
You don't want
Well,
him to wreck
why-
the good car, though.
There's two kind of thoughts and theories behind that. Number one, what I think, you're given, if that 37 is the more competitive ride, giving that to a guy like Ryan Preece in this
Could be.
situation, it gives him a little
Could be
boost.
huge, yeah.
And then you're bringing in a guy like Ricky Stenhouse, say what you will, but he is a veteran.
Mhm.
He has been on good teams. He's won championships at the Xfinity,
Yeah.
then nationwide level. He knows what teams need to do.
Oh, yeah.
So bringing him on to the lesser of the two teams
Yeah.
might be a way to do almost what Kurt Busch did for Chip Ganassi
Right.
on that secondary team. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
So I also wouldn't argue against the other way too. So if you put Ricky Stenhouse in that 37, he might do a lot like what Chris Buescher did and been really competitive.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we don't
we'll
know.
see.
So
We'll just have to see.
that's going to be one of
Yeah.
those. That's going to be one of those interesting little storylines to keep in the back of your head. Like, how does that play out?
Exactly.
So I'm really intrigued to see what they do next year. So that's one thing to watch in 2020.
All right.
Alrighty. So we have a little Xfinity news for next year. Anthony Alfredo is going to join Myatt Snyder in the 21 RCR Xfinity ride for select races next
See, that
year.
was kind of another one that surprised me.
Right.
mean, Anthony Alfredo, it's an average truck series driver.
He was
when
an average
DJR.
equipment.
He was an average equipment at DJR Crossley. So, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I guess he's got enough sponsorship money to do it. But, yeah, so that still leaves the 2-car open, though. Because I thought for sure that he was going, like, to the 2-car or something. And that I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony Alfredo's going to be the successor to Tyler Reddick? Are you crazy?
Yeah, that's
I just haven't really seen enough of Anthony Alfredo yet to really put an opinion
Right.
on him.
But this will be a
Yeah.
nice transition for him doing some part-time rides. And, Mike Snyder's going in there, too.
So that just
Right.
makes me still wonder about Kaz Gralla, though, because Kaz Gralla's in the RCR
Mhm.
stable as well. So are they going to have 3 guys in a 21 car? Does Gralla get the 2 car? I just don't know.
Yeah.
You said almost word for word exactly what I was going to say. I feel like from watching the Truck Series, I don't know enough about Anthony Alfredo
I just
still
don't know
to have a great opinion as to is this going to be a move that helps him, that helps RCR, or what. we're going to find out. Again, he's going to have a bunch of races now and pretty good equipment, as we know. Speaking of Daniel Hemrick, he did wonders in that 21 car, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
Championship Ford Burst,
yeah.
based on consistency.
And we know Mike Snyder, he's a decent driver.
Truck Rookie of the Year,
yeah. So wouldn't be bad to see him get his start with some part-time rides at RCR.
I'm really excited for Myatt Snyder in that ride there. I think he got a really bum deal when Johnny Sauter got the boot from GR and he got moved, or GMS, I'm sorry, and then that really left him the odd man out of Thor Sport. So I think this is kind of like a redemption move for him.
Right.
I really hope he's able to put on a show and find himself in steady work in NASCAR again, because I really enjoyed watching him when he was in that truck. So I think he can do good things. So.
But yeah, that just still, at the end of the day, leaves that 2-car open. And there's still so many other drivers out there that we just don't know.
Right. RCR president Tori Galita did say they're not entirely sure if they're going to even run that 2-car next year.
Okay.
So that's one piece of
just
information.
Might be a part-time team then.
That scares me for one guy, and his name is Daniel Suarez.
Right.
The time's running out. We'll talk about that a little bit later, because we got a few more announcements to make, and I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. So another big piece of news that came out, us being Midwest guys, we're all going to be pretty happy about. He had a pretty good running in the Snowball Derby the other day. Didn't work out for him. But
damn restart.
Ty Majeski with big news in the last couple weeks. Ty Majeski signs full-time with Nice Motorsports in the 45 truck.
That's awesome.
Man. He absolutely deserves that after everything that happened with him in the 60 car with Roush.
Yeah.
And just kind of get nothing next year. He ran a couple races for Nice Motorsports last year.
Yeah, he was in the 44 truck.
Because my first prediction was that with Cole Custer moving up to the Cup Series, I thought that Ty Majeski was going to take the 00. But no, this is great for Ty. He's in great equipment. We saw Roush Chastain was able to take this truck. I'm excited for Ty Majeski. I'm sure he's going to be out there competing for wins next year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And he's in such a great truck. This truck just came off a big season, getting multiple wins.
Right.
And we know Ty Majeski is a great wheel man. So this team's only going up.
I agree. Just like you guys both said, this is a championship caliber truck. We saw what Melon Man did in it.
Yeah.
So now you got a guy. If you ever have to wonder about Ty Majeski's talent and abilities, just take a look at his late model career.
Oh my God.
The man can get it done.
He has 99 wins. He would have got his 100th on Sunday.
Right.
Was it Sunday?
Monday.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Because
the rain out.
Should have been Sunday.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think that's a really good pairing. I cannot wait to see what he does next year. I think he's already a championship caliber favorite. Stepping right into that team, he's going to do good things.
I might have to hop on the Majeski train next year for trucks.
I'm pretty committed to Ben Rhodes, but at the same time,
I don't know.
There's always room for a 1A.
For me, watching the truck series, I don't have a driver. I just I'm the underdog man, as you guys can tell from the list of my favorite drivers that I have. I'm the underdog man, so whenever somebody in underfunded equipment does well, I'm probably going to jump on them.
That's a fair assessment, though.
Yeah, so I feel like I always have to, at least one series, if there's a different driver coming in, I'll have to go for them.
Right.
So
no. So, we're going to just wait and see what happens with Ty, but I really think that's going to be a really fun ride next year.
I can't wait.
Yeah. But hey, speaking of underdogs and maybe even some underfunded teams, Starcom's got a little weird situation going on there for next year. So as we know, they brought in Quinn Hoff next year to run full-time in the 00 car.
This is another scratcher right there.
Yeah. But at the same time, Landon Castle does say that he's fully committed to Starcom
so
for 2020.
Does that mean he's going to be in the 99?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because they ran that car earlier this year.
What is that? Yeah, what exactly does that mean?
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I think that 99 car gets run at a part-time schedule. And then I've heard rumors as well is that if Morgan Shepherd's car can get the funding for next year, then Landon Castle's going to drive that car full-time. If they can get a full season funding under their belt, that Morgan Shepherd has said he's going to have Landon Castle
all they
drive
need
that
is
car.
tires.
We saw what that car was able to do at Homestead.
We did.
He was running around 12th to 15th all night, and that is great for that team. So that's my prediction of what's going to happen if they can do it. We know that funding for that team is very hard to find.
Right.
Because it took them until race 33 to find it. So,
exactly.
But if they're able to do that, that opens up Landon Castle for a full-time Xfinity ride for next year. And maybe he runs a part-time 99 schedule if he's still under contract with Starcom. That is my prediction of what's going to happen.
I think this is very much be careful what you wish for scenario with StarCom.
Right.
You're giving up a driver in Landon Castle, who again is a very professional driver. He's phenomenal at getting the most out of a car, but not
he doesn't
pushing
make
it
any
too
mistakes.
much. No, exactly. And now you're going to an unproven rookie who we're not
He's
even
just
entirely
another-
sure what he's going to do.
He's another guy for me. I just don't know enough about Pinhoff to really have an opinion on him.
He only had a couple races in the Spire cars last year.
Right, yeah.
And that's a Spire car, so of course that wasn't going to go well for him. And
Right.
Unless you want to race under the rain delay.
Yeah. Oh man.
Let's not get this.
Yeah,
started
let's not get Nick going.
Yeah.
So, we just had that rant on the award show.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, no, I agree with you guys. One other thing I think is worth noting for a smaller team like a StarCom, where every dollar and cent they bring in is paramount. Landon Castle seems to have one of those like weird little what's like a cult following of real diehard NASCAR fans. People love that guy. There's he's just one of those guys where when you get rid of a guy like that per se, and I know they're not getting rid of him because he's still staying within the organization, but that's a lot of fans to be losing.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
So those are merch sales, those are people coming to the track to watch your driver. There's a lot of little things you might be losing along the way by getting rid of a driver like that. So
Exactly.
I know Quinn Hoff's bringing in money, so I think that's one of the biggest things that's kind of come into play here, obviously.
Yeah.
But be careful what you wish for.
Right.
That's my warning going forward.
Exactly. You don't want to drop the caliber driver that is Landon Castle, you know?
Right, exactly. I agree wholeheartedly. So, guys, we got to kind of talk about one thing. What is Hailie Deegan going to do next year? So, the rumors going around is that she may be moving on from Toyota Racing
That is
Development.
going to be Toyota Racing's worst decision ever if they let her go. I think that is going to haunt them for a very long time.
Right. So, the biggest things we're starting to hear, DGR Crosley has announced they're going to go with Ford next year.
Yeah.
Ford has also said that they have an announcement coming out. Probably by the time you guys are watching this show, will have already been out. That they have a development driver announcement coming on. It doesn't take a mathematician to put 2 and 2 together on this one.
We'll put who that is,
Right.
like, right here.
Yeah. I could only imagine, but it almost has to be Hailie Deegan.
I would think so
that,
because Todd Gilliland's not in the development stage anymore.
Right.
Because I was thinking so Todd Gilliland probably will get that 17 next year. And then that opens up the 15 truck. It's either not the 15 truck, the 54 truck. We don't know. We don't know what's going on with Natalie Decker yet.
No, nothing's been said.
So, well, obviously, I don't think it's going to be like a full-time slate for Deegan because she is old enough. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with her? But I just think it's a really bad move for Toyota to let her go. Because she, in my mind, could be the next superstar in NASCAR.
Yeah.
And this is also a huge gain for Ford if they get her.
Right. Here's what scares me about this Ford Toyota. This is 2 marquee young talents that you've let walk out the door now. If Hailie Deegan does move on, you've lost Hailie Deegan, who is the most influential person in NASCAR on social media of any level.
Absolutely.
And then you've already lost Noah Gragson.
You lost Noah Gragson,
who is one of the most popular young drivers in NASCAR.
And you also lost William Byron, too.
And William Byron,
Yeah,
that's correct.
right.
I didn't think about
Byron
that.
used to run the 9 truck for
he was at KBM,
That's
then he
true.
moved on to Junior Motorsports.
That's true.
Yeah.
So those
They're
are
letting
3
some good
huge
drivers get away.
Yeah.
I understand a little bit of it, though, because part of it is you can't... It's just like any other sport, like baseball. If you're a young, up-and-coming team with a bunch of prospects, you can't keep everybody.
There's not enough open slates.
Right. There's only so many seats for so many drivers. At some point, you can't hold everybody back until you have one. So,
huge loss for Toyota, huge.
Oh,
for Ford.
yeah.
Right. You would just think with everything that happened this year at KBM, they would find a way to get her in there for at least select races.
That's what I was thinking, too.
See, what I think is going to happen, I think she's going to run one more, now it's the ARCA series, the K&N. I think she's going to run one more full season and then run like a part-time
I think that would be the smart thing.
In the truck series.
I think that would be the smart thing to do, but now is that what she's going to do? I guess we're just going to have to find out in this announcement.
It's whatever opportunity gets.
If she gets a full-time opportunity, if I'm Hailie Deegan, I'm jumping on that. But I know her family's kind of said we're not rushing this at all. So, but I really do think
smart.
I really do think the smartest thing for her is one more year in the ARCA series. Get herself going, and then come 2021, time to kick some ass in the truck.
You don't want to pull like what they did with Natalie Decker. She has an average ARCA season, and then they move her up to full-time trucks.
Yeah.
Not a good move at all. I mean, look at the season that she had. I don't want to see that happen to Haley Deegan, especially with all the talent that Deegan has.
Right. Yeah, I think she's too paramount to the sports future to get rushed up to a level she's not ready then. But the good thing is I think she's smarter than that. Obviously her dad Brian's spoken about it, and he's smarter than that. Coming from a rather lucrative professional career himself with motocross, being the head of the Metal Militia and everything. I think she's going to do what's going to be the best thing for her. I think at this point it might be just like you guys have been saying, running a part-time schedule for both, running a full-time in the ARCA series next year, and then running part-time with the trucks when it's convenient around the schedule. To get her some experience there, and we'll see what doors can open.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad.
I don't think she's going to be short on opportunities.
No.
So
she's one that she can get a lot of sponsorships if she really wanted to.
Absolutely. So we've already talked about one person with an unclear future. So as we all know, that after this 2020 season, there really could be a crazy season for silly season rumors.
Oh, yeah.
Listening to Corey LaJoie's podcast, something he talked about on the Sunday Money podcast, and his estimations, there's only about 9 rides after 2020 that are locked up. So
that's a lot of rides there.
Right.
Holy smokes.
One of those guys who's going to be right at the forefront of all those talks is Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson's going to be a very wanted man in that offseason. One of the things he's kind of come out and talked about already, one of the things that's going to be one of the biggest parts of his negotiations is, will he be able to run dirt races? Do you guys think that's going to be a problem for maybe a team like Hendrick Motorsports? Because obviously you've already seen him linked to the 48. Is that going to be an issue?
You gotta let, at the end of the day, I think you have to let the man do what he wants to do. Dirt racing is Kyle Larson's life, because I think dirt racing might even be a little bit more important to him than NASCAR racing, the way that I see it, because we all know Kyle Larson said it before, when he's done cup racing, he wants to do at least one full-time season of World Outlaws, and because he's one of the best dirt racers to ever do it, so...
He can't lose that edge.
He can't lose that edge, so yeah, that's definitely going to come big into it. I think if Rick Hendrick is smart and wants Kyle Larson in his 48 car next year, you got to let the man do what he wants to do.
Well, I mean, you look at Casey Kane. He was still doing dirt racing when he was with Hendrick Motorsports, so I don't see a problem.
I just think you have to let the man do what he wants to do.
Yeah, exactly. He's a talented driver.
Right. Well, to play devil's advocate to that point, 2 real quick counterpoints to you. Number 1, you kind of allude to the fact that dirt racing may be more important to Kyle Larson than NASCAR. If you're a team owner, do you want somebody where you're paying him millions of dollars to race for you, and that maybe isn't his number 1 priority?
Right.
And second, what if he goes out there and gets hurt? What if he runs the Chili Bowl this year,
and gets hurt,
flips and breaks his leg in 5 places, and you're paying him millions of dollars to race, and now he's not on the track week in and week out?
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's just kind of,
I don't know. I feel like you got to kind of take that risk.
I just feel like it's just like any other sport. If you become a professional basketball player, they have clauses built into your contract. You can't go out and play football with your buddies. You're not allowed to go out and skateboard and things like that.
You can break your leg going out for a hike, man. Yeah. I mean, anything's possible.
It's true.
So you at the end of the day, it's what it's going to come down to. If Kyle Larson is to sign with another team, his number 1 thing when he goes to negotiate, you have to let me run some dirt races.
Yeah.
It's off the table. Because if he's not able to run dirt races, then Kyle Larson just says, screw it, and I'm just going to go run World Outlaws right now.
Right.
Goodbye NASCAR. Which he could do. If there is a team owner who says, no, you cannot do that, then goodbye.
And that would not hurt his mojo.
It wouldn't hurt him at all, because that's why I think dirt racing is more important to Kyle Larson than NASCAR racing, and that's what's kind of saddening, because Kyle Larson was supposed to be, I'm not discrediting him or anything, he was people had him as the next Jeff Gordon or something
that's
like
true.
that.
That's very true.
He's just not, he has the talent to be one of the best stock car drivers out there, but
his focus is on dirt.
Is his focus 100% there?
Yeah. I'm not going to question his commitment or focus in NASCAR. I don't think that's really fair to Kyle Larson. But what I will say, I feel like he's obviously been way more successful in the dirt background, in the dirt racing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more his background. I do feel like you guys are saying, that's going to be paramount to what he does. Again, playing devil's advocate, you not saying that's exactly what I feel, but that's the way teams are going to look at it.
Yeah.
To a degree, that is a liability. He could get hurt doing that. So it's all going to be about what kind of risk you want to take. One good thing that he does have in his back pocket, we already know for sure, that Chip Ganassi doesn't really care one way or
Yeah.
another.
No, not
He's
at all.
more than fine
Chip
with him
Ganassi's a
running.
racing guy.
Yes.
He has his guys
Likes
going
when his
to Indy
drivers win.
500s too.
He
Right.
likes
Yeah.
when his drivers win.
Exactly.
He does.
He loves winners.
He
Yeah.
does. So, yeah. And I think those are going to be... The Gambler's Gossip Corner in 2020, guys, is going to write itself. I'm really not going to have to put any effort into writing these shows week in and week out. We're going to have plenty to talk
Oh,
about.
yeah.
But I think those are going to be the two biggest dominoes that everything else is going to kind of go around is
Yeah.
what's Kyle Larson doing, what's happening with the 48. That might end up being the same story if Kyle Larson does go to the 48.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what you're going to see. It's going to be a lot of that wait and see. Well, yeah, we might sign you, but we want to see what happens with Larson.
Right.
Larson's waiting to hear about this, right? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
I think all those little things are going to be what plays out in this offseason for next year.
Exactly.
So getting ahead of the news now, that's what we know is going to be probably at the top of his priority when it comes to those rides for next year.
Right.
So, alrighty. So what else we got to go over here? So, little more news. Front Row solidified their lineup for next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
It's downsizing from a 3-car team to a 2-car team. Michael McDowell will be back with Front Row,
Yeah.
and they are going to go with John Hunter Nemechek next year, as we've talked about.
yeah,
And
that's-
he outperformed in that 36 car, so I don't see a reason why they shouldn't hire him.
Good for him. He took advantage. Like I said, when he first got into that car, I said, this can open the door for you, John Hunter Nemechek. And here you go. You just landed yourself a full-time ride.
Right.
Because you did great things. You outperformed in that car, what it's
Right.
been running all year.
And
But-
so they're taking out the 36, and they're going to have John Hunter drive the 38.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
and they're going to lease out that other charter.
Yeah.
I did
so
read
that opens up another car for
yeah,
somebody.
Exactly.
The only thing that so congratulations to John Hunter and to Michael McDowell for returning.
Yeah.
But what the hell is going to happen with Daniel Suarez now? Because you
Right.
talked about the 2-car in the Xfinity Series might not even be there next year. Front Row is solidified. We thought Daniel Suarez was going to Front Row. And now they're only a 2-car
Yeah,
team. So
We've heard rumblings the 0
the
car
double
might
Yeah, the
shut
zero
double
down.
car
zero
might
car is
shut down.
gone
They
now, yeah.
just laid off their entire team. So
Or so we've heard. It's
So
not
we
been
heard from
confirmed,
Drunken
but so
Brian
we've heard.
fans said that they
Right.
laid off their entire team. Not confirmed, but that's just what we're hearing right now. So if that turns out to be true, where is Daniel Suarez really going to be done?
Well, what's really crazy to me was with we've got 6 Rookie of the Year contenders next year.
Yeah.
We've had the big 3 all move up. I thought we were gonna have a bunch of Xfinity rides that might be open for guys to step into.
But they've been
Just
closing
filling
that
that shoes.
Yeah,
Other
this
guys
is
are,
not happening.
Yeah.
other guys are filling
So-
those shoes, or they're just
Right.
shutting down their operation.
Right.
Yeah, because
So,
we have the 20 being taken.
20's taken.
We have the 00 being closed. We have the 2 possibly being closed.
Right.
Like, man, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you're having the top rides from this
So-
year and last year.
And what's even crazier is that Daniel Suarez said he had millions of dollars in sponsorship. So for somebody to not pick him up, what's going on here? Do they not want Daniel Suarez as their driver, or what is the deal here?
That's really a really intriguing point because, like you said, listen, he's bringing in millions of dollars.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that fell apart with Stewart Haas was when the millions of dollars were coming in. I guess some of it was kind of deferred. It wouldn't be there at certain points that Stewart Haas didn't want. But the weird part about it is you couple that with he might have underperformed per the equipment that he was in the last 2 years, but Daniel Suarez is a talented driver. If you don't
That's
believe
just
me, look at him in the
if
Xfinity
you-
Series.
Right.
I just don't think you can just say goodbye to Daniel Suarez,
No.
just like what they're doing to
No.
him right now. I think it's totally unfair to him. Sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure him underperforming in Stewart Haas equipment and Joe Gibbs equipment has something to do with it, but the guy's got millions of dollars in sponsorship, and he's a pretty good steering wheel holder,
Right.
so it just comes down to do team owners want Daniel Suarez as their driver? And right now, still the answer is still no.
Yeah.
Because these opportunities are closing up. We just don't know anymore, and all these cup rides are being taken. Because we really thought Daniel Suarez was going Front Row Motorsports. That's what everybody was
Yeah.
thinking.
Right.
And now that's just been closed
That
up.
ship sailed,
so
yeah.
Daniel Suarez is the odd man out right now. He's
Right.
probably the last big key signing during this offseason.
And it sounds
What's
like
gonna
from all
happen to
these
him?
rides, being taken or closed, it doesn't sound like he's going to get that good of a ride than he's had
Does he
before.
get anything, though?
Yeah.
Well, what's also been really kind of scary in a way too is as soon as he did lose that ride this year, we heard about all the different offers and different options he had on the table. Yet here we are.
Here we
Yeah.
are.
So-
Some of those opportunities
Right.
have closed for him. So do
Right.
that's just a big question. Do team owners want Daniel Suarez as their driver? As of Thursday, December 12th, no, they do not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
It's just crazy to see that he could potentially. We still have almost 2 months to go before the Daytona 500. He's got 66 days to figure something out. Maybe even like 60 days if he wants to go run a truck.
Something else,
Truck
yeah.
Xfinity. He's probably open to anything at this
And
point.
even at that, I mean, that's when they get there. You got to know pretty
really
soon
gotta
here.
know.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
but
season's pretty short.
Listen, we did say there's only rumblings of the 00 shutting down.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
We
for
don't know
sure.
that for sure.
They could have just laid off those workers and might be bringing in more. Who
Yeah.
knows? So. I still think some way or another he does remain with Stewart-Haas Racing, whether that's in another car, whether that's behind the scenes for a year until something else opens up,
Right.
who knows. So one thing we can confirm for Stewart-Haas, per front stretch, Chase Briscoe will be back with Stewart-Haas
That's
next year.
fantastic.
So,
He had such a great
Yeah, you
rookie
can't-
season. We saw him win at Iowa, and he just outperformed, or not, I wouldn't say outperformed because that's, a top of the line car, but
Right.
for a rookie, man, he did one hell of a job.
Well, the second half of the season when he turned it on, I thought he was a legitimate championship contender.
Yeah.
He really was a championship contender. He kind of took himself out of a couple races, but he had a strong rookie season, so good to see him back in the 98 car next year. I expect him to be a championship favorite next year.
I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
In my opinion, Chase Briscoe was a very pleasant surprise this year in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
We came into this year with a very stacked top end of the field every year. There were high expectations for those guys. We know what the big three were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Briscoe wasn't a
Exactly.
guy you had these expectations going into the year that thinking he's going to be a guy that could run for a championship. But you know what?
He was kind of that fourth
There
guy.
he was.
Yeah.
There he was.
He was
Most of the
kind
year.
of
Yeah,
that
he was
fourth
the
guy.
fourth guy,
Right.
that we had between Allgaier, Noah Gregson, and him. So
I think those are the three or four guys that are going to run for a championship next
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Barring Daniel Suarez doesn't come back down, because I think no matter what, you almost always have to put his hat in that
No,
too.
Right.
So we're just going to have to wait and see there. But no, I think that's going to be great for him. I think he's, like we said, with those guys moving on, that opens up the door for him for more wins,
Oh yeah.
more consistent finishes. And I think, just like you guys said, he's a championship favorite now. So I think it's going to come down to him, Allgaier, Noah Gregson, one of those kind of guys. And depending on who else is coming up, maybe Harrison Burton gets hot and has a great year.
Yeah, who
We're
knows
just
how
gonna
he
have to
does
wait
in
and
the
see.
car, yeah.
Exactly. Maybe Brandon Jones rebounds.
The Xfinity
Yeah.
Series
Right.
is going to be an exciting series to watch.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
weird part of it is they lost so much
Much
talent.
talent.
You would think that it would almost lull, but I don't think that's
I
going to
think
be
it's
the
just
case.
going to be almost
Right.
as exciting next year with all these real young guns.
Right.
Time like that Joe Gibbs camp. There's some young
Oh, my
boys right
God.
there.
Right.
Like Brandon Jones is the veteran of that team now.
Yeah,
That's
which is
just
crazy.
crazy to
Yeah.
think. You
And
got
he
that-
came off a really good second half.
Yeah, he
last
finished the
Right.
season really strong,
Yeah.
so could expect some good things out of Brandon
Right.
Jones in 2020. We just
Yeah.
don't know. It's going to be an exciting series.
I think
And
it's
will
a
he
wide
unblock
open
me?
season.
And will he unblock me on Twitter?
There we go.
That's the big question. I don't know what I did to you, Brandon.
So then one last little piece of news to kind of go over before we sign off. This was a real head scratcher, guys.
Oh, man.
Brendan Poole signs the Premium Motorsports next year in the 15 car. I don't really know what to make of
Like,
this.
do you congratulate the guy, or do you just
Sorry for your
sorry
loss.
for your
bud.
loss?
Well, listen. Brendan Poole got a ride. He's in a cup ride. It's
Yeah.
not a top end ride, but you know what though?
This is just one of these.
He's racing on Sundays.
Racing on,
Yeah.
This is just one of these deals. I think he took this ride just to say he can be a cup rider or something like that, because Premium Motorsports, because he could have been linked to one of those front row rides as well. He was linked to one of those front row rides as a couple rumors came out.
Right.
So yeah, the 15 car, it's not great, but yeah, he's racing on Sundays. He can tell his other competitors down in lower series, hey boys, I race on Sundays.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any substitute for experience, especially when it comes to Sundays.
Right.
So obviously, we all know Brendan Poole is not quite ready to be an everyday Sunday regular to the point where he's competitive and in races and making a difference in the outcome. But you know what? This could be one of those things where you look back 3-4 years from now, like, oh, you got a couple races in here. He ran a full season here in the 15. So we try him here, and the next thing you know, he gets a bigger ride, and the next thing you know, he's doing well.
Right.
It's possible. You never know with some of this stuff.
He hasn't had a full season in racing since 2017. And that's when he was with the,
The
48 team at
and
Chip
the
Ganassi.
Xfinity
Right.
Series.
And even then, he didn't really look
It's
that
just gonna
good.
be really
you know,
interesting to see what
that good of a
happens, 'cause,
car.
like,
he had
yeah.
4 top 5s, 17 top 10s. He had 1 pole.
Like, good for you, man, but this one, it's a real head scratcher for me.
You know what it reminds me a little bit of? My analysis, him almost like what we were talking about earlier with Anthony Alfredo. It's like, I know I've watched Brendan Poole race a ton,
Yeah.
watching all 3 series of NASCAR, but I still don't know if I've got a super intelligent opinion of him. I feel like he's shown some talent, some speed at times.
But this is-
I feel like he's done some stupid stuff at times.
Yeah.
And I feel like everything in between. So
I just
what do
don't
we
know
do?
if he can really learn from this experience. So
He's
'cause
going to
this
be
is
running
a
top 30.
30th to 33rd place car week in and week out. So what knowledge are you really gaining here? Like, yeah, he's gonna get a feel for the racetracks in a Cup car, but
The only thing that it can do is open up more doors.
yeah, that's
Right.
all it's gonna do for him. But it's gonna be
It's going to be a long ride.
it's gonna
for
be a
him.
long ride for him next year. So
Very
best of luck to Brendan
frustrating.
Poole. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just always good to see, like, you know, the underdogs kind of like
Yeah.
him get a chance like that, I guess.
And
But
he went from Xfinity to no ride. He ran like a part-time truck.
well, he went to
schedule
like
last
top
year.
ride in the Xfinity,
Yeah.
basically. Chip Ganassi
And
was really
then
good back then.
Yeah.
he was like hiatus all of 2018. 2019 he comes back, runs a couple truck races, and here he is in the Jump to
Yeah.
Cup. So he's had himself quite the interesting journey for sure.
One thing
Yeah.
I did think was pretty cool about this ride, if you guys have seen any of his social media pages, he's geeked about this.
Yeah.
He's really excited to be here. I hope he's able to do some things to kind of further his career. I don't wish ill on anybody
No.
as
No,
much as
no,
I
not
don't
at
have
all.
to. So I
just
hope
wish
this
him-
does something good for him.
I genuinely wish him good luck because
Right.
he's going to need it.
Oh, it's
I
gonna
just
be
feel
tough.
like, yes, this is one of those moves where you look at exactly what came together for both sides and you're not really sure what to kind of make of
Because
it.
they had to
Right.
put on the table, like, yeah, we're not going to be contending for race wins. We're not even going to be close to contending for, like, top 20s or anything. There's a couple times Ross Chastain got that car in the top 25, so
Yeah.
that's where they
Yeah.
set their goal this year is let's try and
Right.
get either top 30, top 25 finishes, number one thing, keep the car
Yeah.
clean, keep it on the lead lap. So
Right.
it's going to be a huge learning year for him. So
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah, but
Right.
he's driving on Sunday, so I guess we'll see how that goes
It's
for
one
him.
thing- It's
Yeah.
one thing Trevor Bain's not doing is
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess.
So, there is one little piece of news, though, I do want to go over before we close out the show. It has been rumored, guys, that 43 team at Richard Petty Motorsports is adding a huge sponsor
Yeah.
announcement that will come next year. It's supposed to allow Richard Petty Motorsports to be able to buy, I think I read about a dozen brand new race cars
Oh,
for them
really?
for next
Oh,
year.
sweet.
So don't quote me on that part because this is
Yeah.
coming off the memory, not off my notes. But it was a large number of brand new
Anything
race
that can
cars.
help.
Right. We saw what he did in a brand new race car at Indianapolis
Yeah.
firsthand.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
man.
Right.
Someone can drive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, what I've said about Bubba time and time again. Say what you want, but in a climate of the sport where sponsors are leaving, he's consistently brought sponsors
Yeah.
in.
Man, his rookie season in Cup, his first year in that 43 car, he had a new sponsor on that thing every single week.
And that's
Yeah.
on top of, if you remember, Smithfield left under really kind of questionable
Yeah.
terms with Richard Petty.
Yeah.
So to kind of smooth everything over, they still sponsored a bunch of that season with them.
Right.
So he lost that the following year,
Mhm.
and he's still bringing in sponsors. You saw what happened last year with Victory Junction coming on board
yeah.
through WWT.
Yep.
So they'll both be back to my
Nice.
knowledge.
Get him some better equipment. He can be
Right.
contending for top 15s week in and week out.
Right.
And that would be really nice to see Bill Walsh be able to do.
This is
Oh,
something
yeah.
I've wanted to see for him for a while now. Is he's gone from bringing in a one race sponsor to maybe pays for this or that. Now he's bringing in guys for bigger chunks of the year with more money.
Right.
So this is the kind of thing he's got the ball rolling in the right direction. Can he
Right.
keep bringing in sponsors? Can he keep adapting and learning and improving on the track? What we've seen,
I think
I have
so.
no reason to think
yeah,
otherwise.
yeah.
So as a guy who's one of my drivers, I'm really excited to see what happens with that 43
Oh,
team.
yeah.
Really excited to see who that sponsor ends up being. It sounds like it's going to be a major player from things I'm hearing.
Yeah, so far, no
Stay
slowing down
tuned.
for Bubba.
Yeah, stay tuned on that. So, guys, with that being said, that's going to wrap this edition, this off-season edition of the Gambler's Gossip Corner for the Stock Car Spectacle. Guys, we'll try to keep you tuned as much as we can in the off-season. I know we've talked about maybe doing a preview show as we get a little closer to the season.
Yeah.
If we do get some big news regarding somebody like Daniel Suarez or any other big breaking news, we'll keep you guys posted. But other than that, I think this is going to be like the big blast blow-off show of the year.
Yeah,
for
unless
sure.
like you said, unless we have anything that's like breaking or something else that we want to try, that's going to be it for 2019, basically.
Absolutely.
Heading off into the sunset this
Right.
year.
Yeah,
So,
we had a good year.
yeah. So, hey, from the Stock Car Spectacle, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Hope you guys have great ones. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow us, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you hit the little bell so you get notifications when our videos come out. Don't forget to watch my interview on episode number 44 for the lead. Those guys are great. I think all you guys that watch our show will love them as well.
We'll put a link to that in the description.
Right. And guys, as we talked about, we're going to try to do more and more with those guys as we go, especially going into 2020.
Big things.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah. I think our show is going to be way better next year. Then you add in whatever experience and things we can get from those guys. We're going to have a really good 2020 on the Stock Car Spectacle. So with that being said, I'm Mike Gamble.
I'm Nick Kinzel.
And I'm Ian Jortson.
Happy holidays, guys.
And thank you,
next
Keystone Light.
time.